Hi, all, and welcome to Monday Night's Treasure Vortex with Gypsy from YouTube's Zero Discrimination, as well as GypsyDigs.com, and myself, Amanda Degaz. So we are both back. I know that we had originally said we were going to do a pre-recorded show for last Monday, but her and I, the week got away from us, and we say la vie. We ended up canceling last Monday's show. So we are both back. I would love to say we are fully rested, but I don't think that's the case. So everyone, hello everyone, and hey Gypsy, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing all right.
A busy week last week.
Yes.
So I know you've got lots to tell us about. So
I sure do. But you and your cruise, right? You got cruising?
I did. I went with an old-time friend, Becky, that I'd met when I lived in Louisiana a long time ago. And, we talk off and on over the years. And, it's kind of like, when you haven't seen a friend in a long time and you're great friends and then you reconnect, even though it's been years and years. It's kind of like that, it was just like picking up where we left off, playing catch up. So it was so much fun. And I know a lot of you saw my video, I guess, about me trying to decide whether to pack my metal detector and to pack or not to pack. That was the question. Mm-hmm. And this part of the deciding factor for me, believe it or not, was I had my massive big suitcase and I had put all my clothes in there, and by the time I packed everything, I was like, you know what? If I want to fit my detector in here, I'm going to have to unpack some things and then have a second suitcase. I only wanted to bring my one suitcase. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to mess with it. And you know what? It was really a good thing because once we got there in Cozumel, they had closed down most of the beaches because the red tide.
Huh.
So it worked out perfect. We actually stayed on the boat the whole time. And even while we were in Cozumel, we stayed by the pools. I even went down the slide. Somewhere there's a video of me going down the slide. Went down a couple times. It was so much fun. But, the best part of it is, I know a lot of you watched my video beforehand, but the best part of the whole cruise, even though this was the first time I went on a cruise and didn't take my metal detector, that there was other treasure to be found, Yeah. The treasures that I found and the new people that I met and then reconnecting with my old friend was boundless. It was so amazing and so wonderful. And, I am so grateful and thankful that I got to go on that cruise. So anyway, that's pretty much it. And was back yesterday, and yesterday was one of those days where it was kind of just almost decompressing from my vacation. Sometimes we need that even after we've had so much fun and stuff. Part of it was I was tired and kind of sleep deprived and dehydrated, I found out. So I am feeling 100% better today, and I got a video completed today. Went out to another part of the property, the farm here, and did like a back to basics video and got it edited and uploaded. So I was proud of myself.
Yeah.
And I am only like, I don't even remember how many now. Last I checked it, I think I'm like 4 subscribers away from not hitting 9K subscribers.
Ooh, that's awesome.
if there's any of you, or if you would go share my videos, I would so appreciate it, because I'm so close to 9K, hitting that milestone, and I'm super stoked about it. And next 10K, here we come. 10K, I think you get some sort of silver plaque from YouTube.
Ooh.
So I don't even know. I don't keep up with all that. I just know that, I know there's some people, even in chat right now, that have YouTube channels, and they probably work 10 times harder than me. I really only started my YouTube channel. I only started it to share my passion for metal detecting. Never in a million years would I have expected to get sponsored by Garrett, end up on TV, and then now embarking on a whole new avenue of starting my own production company. So it is a wild ride where life takes you sometimes, and I appreciate all my subscribers. And also, I know you and I totally appreciate all of our wonderful listeners that listen every week. I know not all of you are always able to get in chat, but we appreciate you. Feel free to share, our podcast. Maybe you have a favorite podcast. You can share those as well, can't they?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I'm still in that. We only have, 10 listeners. I pretend it's funny. That's all. Shush you.
Okay.
But it must have been nice to take like a break too, because I know you're constantly focused on not just finding the treasure and the history and doing the research, but you're also always, looking to make the best video for your subscribers, the people that watch you, on all these things. So it must have been nice to have a little break from that too.
It really was, and
I know it must be stressful.
Yeah, it was stressful too, because I knew I needed to get some videos out, and as well, so to keep my YouTube channel going, to keep my subscribe, all of that. So, and I'm grateful for our Monday night podcast as well. It's kind of, I'm going to try to start getting a video out every Monday before the podcast. That's my new goal. So we will definitely see if I can do that. So I'm continuing. So my video that I put out today is Back to Basics. I'm going to be doing a Back to Basics video series. And today I talked more about a few tips, and then I also talked about settings on your detectors. And then next I'm going to be probably doing, some videos on like what is, more about now I know a lot of our listeners, they know about all this, but sometimes it helps to go back and get, reminders of some of these things. I'm going to be talking about stuff like ground balancing your detector, certain areas you should always ground balance, certain detectors you may not even have to ground balance, different scenarios, and just talking about that kind of stuff, along with, what coil should I choose for this type, or what detector should I choose for this type of terrain, that kind of thing. So just back to the basics. And then because I have so many people ask me all the time, about questions on settings and yada, yada. So it's good to kind of get a refresher, a reminder about some of these things. So that's what my video was about today that I put out. So be sure, if you haven't already, check that out. And if you've got some people that are just getting started in the hobby, it's kind of a good something for them to look at and kind of figure out more about their detector that they're using and stuff like that. So Anyway,
Yeah.
so let's see. What else? I think that's enough about me and my vacation. Let's hear more. Let's hear more about. Um, let's hear about what you.
Yeah, this week.
About your whole week of fun too. So let's dive right in.
Oh, yeah, this last week was absolutely amazing. It was great. So Mr. Digfoot and John and I, we took off bright and early Saturday morning to get into upstate New York. I think we got in between 1 and 2, so that way we'd have all afternoon, and it was great. We had amazing hosts, which were Ed and Carrie Conklin, and so we met up with them right when we got in because, come to find out, couldn't check into the hotel till 4, so that worked out. Got to go visit with them, and I got to see Ed's treasure room with all his relics, and I drooled a little bit, and then John came in and he drooled a little bit looking at everything, and it was, and not just looking at these things, but there's stories that go with everything, and you know how it is. We all have stories.
You gotta hear the stories behind the items and the adventures.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was. Yeah, so it was great. And then Jeff and Rob joined us, and I think Rob is in chat, Ed's in chat, Carrie's in chat, and we headed off to have dinner together and stopped at a historic spot and got to check out and get some history. And Ed made an amazing tour guide and historian of the area. So you know me, I love the history of places, so it was great. We went and had dinner and set up the plan for the week, and it was great. Anytime you meet up with other like-minded people and you get to talk about treasure and stories, and it's just it makes every day like that much better. And then Paul Force, who's in chat as well, he ended up joining us on the first hunt, which was Sunday morning. We all met up at Ed's and headed off to our the very first permission that Ed had lined up for us, and jaw-dropping. Absolutely jaw-dropping. Actually, all of these permissions were jaw-dropping. Every place we went was just amazing, full of history. It was, it was great. I think the very first hunt, I ended up finding a pretty decorative, I think I posted pictures on Facebook. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it was a decorative sconce that went at this house at one point, or if it was sections to a bell. At this point in the yard where I had found it, I had heard a bunch more signals, but the two that I had dug, seeing it was in a yard, I didn't really want to destroy. Everything's been so dry here. The dirt was like dust. And I got the two, and the property owner, we met with him, and he decided he wanted to, he was going to keep those pieces, which was perfect for me. Like, you take them, not quite sure what they are. Plus, if he ever has another detectorist there and he digs up, or whomever digs up more pieces, maybe they can put together whatever this is. So, and it obviously belonged with the house. So that was really neat. So on the very first permission, I was able to, have items that I know were part of that house go back to the house. So that was cool. And then we went on to another permission. It was great. I could talk about every single permission, except I know it was just great. You have this rally with basically 2 people in each vehicle. There were 3 vehicles, and hitting up these different permissions, and the property owners were just so nice. They were They were so welcoming and so open, and it was awesome. Ed really did. I know he worked long and hard on getting a lot of the permissions, so a huge thank you for that. And yeah, it was great. There was a bucket list item found by Ed.
Yeah.
He found one of his bucket list items. He got a walker, and that was really cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And then Rob got 2 Crotal bells, and that was, any bells that come up. I love looking at them.
Yeah.
It was awesome. So the first one I saw, and that was so cool. And then I think on another hunt, he ended up finding another, and that was awesome. And Rob also found, I didn't post the picture of it, and I think I need to. I'm gonna call it like a Cabbage Patch doll. You know how the face with the lettuce around it, or the cabbage around it? Like, do you picture the old emblem for the Cabbage Patch doll? Well, this thing was a lawn ornament, like a face that was cast iron that would have been in the ground, that had a face that looked like lettuce was coming around it. Like the lettuce man.
Yeah. I've seen stuff like that. So
Yeah.
what do you think that was part of? Like an old fence? What was that?
I think it was just a garden ornament at some point.
A garden ornament.
Yeah.
Wow.
Based on the number of beaver tails I dug at that one spot, I'm guessing that they'd probably have some stuff and maybe parties, decorative things. But you have to, coming, like, each time I got frustrated with the ring pole, but knowing where we were digging and the numbers that they come up, especially those old beaver tails, if that tail is curled under the ring, you have to dig them. You have to.
Yep.
And they weren't all at the same depth. So it was one of those, some were similar depth, but it was just, had to dig them, dug quite a few. I think I might have been the winner of the Beaver Tail Award for that day. Don't get me wrong. I found neat things, but it always, once you get little, it's not even competitions, but once you get something going like that, it makes it kind of fun too. Who can dig the most? But after this week too, I realized I'm going to get one of those, the attendance takers. They've got the click button that they can take how many head counts. I'm going to get one of those, and I'm going to do clicker for each time I dig a hole.
Good idea. I love it. That's funny. That would be a great way to keep count, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We ought to have some sort of contest or something. That sounds fun. I need to get me a clicker, but that's just one more thing to carry.
Oh, and at one spot, no, they're little teeny tiny things that fit right in your pocket. I used to have one when I worked at the movie theater way back when.
Oh yeah.
Yep, and it fit perfect in it was like a ring you wore, and you click.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep track I was going to say I think I need a break from detecting, but I'll carry on with the stories before I tell you why I think I need a break.
Okay.
On one of the permissions too, Ed got an amazing skeleton key, and we both love skeleton keys.
Yeah, that's our favorite.
Yep, it was in the picture. It's gorgeous though. It was actually somewhat ornate and had designing on the side. Very cool.
Oh my gosh, I have to check that out.
Yep.
Ed, you'll have to send me a picture. So, one of my favorite things and your favorite things is the skeleton keys.
Mm-hmm.
One of my other favorite things that goes along with keys, especially skeleton keys, are the old padlock, the old locks. Anybody find a lock?
No, but I did dig some of those signals that were coming up overload because I was hoping for one.
Really?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Oh, shucks.
Yep. But no padlocks.
What was your favorite? Well, before we go there, tell us about the funniest story of all that happened the whole trip. Is there a funny story?
There were a lot of funny stories. Let's see. Do you want the learning lesson funny story or the?
Let's do both. But yeah, let's start with that one.
All right. When you have a permission that has an invisible fence, that
okay.
That it's not just about digging the plugs that you might be cutting. If you're actually, especially if you're doing a big yard and you're using a larger shovel, if you just set your shovel in the ground to lean your detector on it, you can cut the invisible fence. It's something that never crossed my mind, is that it's not just when you're digging a plug that you might cut the line, but it could also happen if especially if it's a giant yard, it's all fenced, got that invisible fenced in. If you just set your shovel to put your detector on it to talk for a minute.
So how does that work? Does it break I don't know how those invisible fences really work.
It breaks the fence.
It breaks the frequency that it sends across the signal, like whatever laser type, invisible laser. I don't know how all that works. So how does that work?
I think it's like the electric line, like it would be like electricity. I think it goes all the way around when it's all one, but when there's a cut on it, then it can't get over that cut. So it stops working, and an alarm goes off.
Oh, shyster.
I mean, it was shut off. The invisible fence was shut off while detecting. And yeah, it poor Ed. He fixed it. He fixed it though. Him and his friend. Yep. They got a. So if you're ever digging one of those, don't put your shovel in the ground if you're just going to talk. But if you're digging a plug, you want to keep the plug open, and they can be relatively easily fixed. But it's when the plug gets closed and you don't know where the line is, then that becomes the problem. You need like a toner and a buddy that will, help, and then you need to kind of get on like all fours with this toner to follow the line to see where the line goes, and then look for plugs or cuts. So
interesting.
But that was definitely a learning.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't either. Well, I knew about invisible fences. I knew about, if cutting a plug, but I never thought about if you actually just set your shovel, that you could actually just snip the line. So that was pretty crazy.
Wow.
It was eye-opening.
Wow. So you said there was like an alarm that went off?
Yeah, so when it gets plugged back in, it will send an alarm, like it will beep, beep, beep,
really
beep.
Loud?
Nope. No, not like that. It will just beep, 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 and let you know that there's a cut in the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Some
of the things we learn while out detecting.
Yes. Yep. And then there was plenty of fun things to do after detecting as well. So I got to watch all four guys get in like go-kart racing, like an inside go-kart arena type thing, a raceway.
Yeah.
And they were hilarious. Hilarious watching them zip around. Yep. Yep. So that was some entertainment. I was watching them pass each other, and then another group got in, and a girl from one of the other groups like cut in front of I think it was Ed, cut in front of Ed, and Ed ended up hitting a wall, and just it was crazy. It was crazy.
Oh my. That's funny. That sounds like fun though. Sounds like so much fun.
Yep, it was. It was. And John ended up finding a largie. I think it was an 1848 largie. And
Ooh, what?
yeah, yep, he found a New York State watch, like a New York State emblem that says New York
Watch fob?
State. Yep, watch fob. That was really neat. But then he blew it away on Friday. He
What did he find?
instead of detecting, he decided to climb down into the creek, and he found a scraper, like hide, so an indigenous and native artifact. And it's like
Oh,
it's
yeah. I
almost
saw a
as
photo of that.
big as my hand. It was so crazy.
That's epic. That
Yep.
was his first, right? And at
Yep.
first, when I saw that photo, I thought you found it. I was like, oh my gosh, she finally found one. She's been looking for one for so long.
I know. Nope.
But hey, when you finally get to come to Texas, that's when you're going to find one. See,
Yes.
got to find it when I'm there. Got to find it when I'm there.
Hey now,
So.
I'm supposed to go back to New York in October before I see you, so I'm hoping. There's nothing wrong with finding different types, though, correct? It will be my first.
True. That's true. You can find a Texas one and a New York one. I'll accept that.
Yep. So totally different types. So that would be good.
Mm-hmm.
That would be good. And we all seem to be finding toys and stuff. Like Paul found a whole bunch of toy cap guns. Like he found one that was like really little that had like mother of pearl. It wasn't mother of pearl, but it looked like mother of pearl little handle, like a little derringer. It was really neat. And then again, you and we both love the ornate stuff. But he found like this pewter acorn that's on like an oak leaf. That was really pretty. And did I lose you?
Water went. No, I'm still here. I was coughing my head off because I took a sip of water, and I don't know if I was trying to say something or what, but it went down the wrong. So, excuse me. You keep talking. I'm gonna cough some more.
Oh no. All right. Well, so one of my favorite finds. Oh wait, I had three that were my favorite. I found a silver, and it ended up. I think I sent you a picture. So it ended up
Your pocket
being,
knife.
yeah, it's a silver plated, but it's like a thick, like section that like if it's technically, I think I could take it right off and it would be, silver. Like really thick. And then the knife blade had a whole bunch of hallmarks on it. And
Really?
yeah, I think Rob tried to do some research on it. I tried to do some research on it. I think even John looked, and I mean, we found one or two of the symbols, but yeah, no idea. You know, Figured I'd get back and eventually get everything out, clean everything up, and really take a look.
Yeah.
And then I found my first, like, I have my fire chief badge, but I found a junior police badge. So that really.
Oh, that's fun.
And
I love finding those.
yeah, it's an older one. So I was really excited.
Cool.
But we were doing what like you and I do when we go on hunts. So, in the morning, what do you want to find? And you'd say it out loud. And
Yeah, you were doing that.
yeah, we were doing that. So all week I had been doing that, and then it seemed like Friday afternoon, all of a sudden, it was like I found the brooch, I found the toy person, I found this, that, and the other.
I was going to ask you, did you ask for the toy soldiers type thing?
I did. I asked for a lead. See, I didn't. Maybe I still need to be more specific. I asked for the lead toy individual, whatnot, but then I got a cast iron coachman.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn cool.
So that was neat. And then I did find me in the morning buttons, but I found a brass button that was 2 sections and it had little black beads all over it. And I love the morning buttons, so that was really neat.
I was about to ask you, did you find any beads, just laying on top of the ground?
Nope, nope. I had my eyeballs peeled. I did not, though I did not know that just about everywhere you go, there's flint everywhere.
Oh.
So you know me, I'm like, ooh, piece of flint, ooh, piece of flint.
So
Outside
you're
the
collecting
hotel.
all kinds of
Yep,
little chips. I love
yep.
it.
Outside the, outside the hotel, it's used as crushed stone. It's in sections. Ooh, piece of flint. Ooh, another piece of flint. So by the time that, we left New York, my pockets were full of flint. I have giant,
So fun.
lots of chips of it and pieces and chunks, and
Wow.
it was great.
You
It
were
was
so
great.
close to finding a hole in it, but you put all those together and you might have a hole.
That's true. That's true. And I
Oh,
think Paul wrote it in chat too. So he found like an old it's not a Zippo. I can't remember the name brand, but it looks like the
yeah,
Zippo
lighter. I
casing.
saw that.
Yep, it was the
Really?
577th Engineer from Fort Bennings, Georgia. And the
Ooh.
property owner was awesome. It was like, "Oh, you can keep it." And it's so neat, so neat, so neat.
I love stuff like that. That's cool. Wow.
Uh,
So cool.
It yeah, it really was a great time. It was. And I did post pictures because I had to. Like no matter what, you're gonna dig trash. So I posted the two giant buckets of trash that we dug for I think we
Oh, man. Giant buckets. Yep. Sounds
so
familiar, doesn't it?
yep, so there were five of us digging on not five of us. There were 5 days with if not four of us digging, six of us digging. And we did. We filled up two entire pails, and I know we have some still in the back of the truck. I mean, in the car, and it's just, yeah, you've got to dig it. You got to dig it. And I mean,
Yeah.
what works too is when you take that big iron out, if any other detectorist goes back to these places, that
Yeah.
halo, that's going to be gone. So I bet you that there's
Right.
a ton more stuff to be found.
Oh,
A ton.
totally. Totally. You could go back over that and no telling what you'd find.
It was crazy though. These permissions, I mean, we rolled up on some. I'm like, oh my gosh, our house could fit in this like 4 times over. And property wise is there, yeah. I mean, the history too. I know a lot of the towns and cities do this as well, but they've got the historic markers everywhere. So even as you're driving, you can slow down and kind of stop or whatnot and read the signs. And that was a lot of fun too. So we did a
Yeah, I
lot of
bet.
that. We did a lot of that. Plus, I benefited. John drove both to New York and back from New York, so I got the
Oh, nice.
yeah, it was good. It was great. Skip forward. So I know I had said I think I need a break from detecting for a while. So we get back. I think it ended up being like 8.5 hours on the way back.
Wow.
We stopped quite a bit because the way there, you're excited, you're revving to go. On the way back, you're in a little bit of pain. You burn the candle at both ends. So
Right,
we
right.
stopped a few times to get out and walk around and whatnot, but pulled into the driveway and there's a note in the door. And I'm like, God, geez. I
Oh,
look and it's
yeah.
like, hey, I need help finding something. If you can come over with your detector. I'm like, oh. Put it down for a second, unpacked everything, and then gave him a call. I'm like, I can't do it tonight. How about tomorrow? And got yeah, that works. Ended up going over and meeting up. And so my advice to anybody, and again, I'm still learning on the whole recovery, getting called out for helping people, is to always get all the information. All the information.
Yeah,
all
Yeah.
the information. So there was a big long tractor chain lost while cleaning paths in the woods. And I thought, all right, that's not
Okay.
too bad. Thinking just a little path
Yeah.
here and a little path there. Nay. These were like mile-long paths into the woods. So it's Sunday morning. I got my detector. I went, met up with him. He showed me the paths, explained this one goes straight back and forth. There's two over here. They just both loop. Okay, that's nothing, not hard. Again, my choice on where I picked, I was like, all right, I'm going to go the left first, which is the straight down and straight back. I'm out in the woods. It must have been, I don't know, in the woods, it was 100% humidity. It was like 90 degrees. I'm pouring sweat. I didn't bring a bottle of water. I'm looking around and realizing, oh, I think I saw on our community page a day or two ago that there was a bear in the area. We have bears. And I'm like, I don't have any of my stuff with me. I'm not prepared. Like, what happens if a bear? I'm looking down on the ground and these paths are covered in poison ivy. Like I did my Google image thingy where you take a picture and it's like, yep,
Yeah.
that's poison ivy. I'm like, yep, that's poison ivy. This is awesome. Did that whole path left and right and came back. No chain. I'm like, all right. So I went to the right and then I went to the right loop. They were about maybe half a mile each. So at about an hour and 45 minutes in the woods doing these paths, I did the right path. There was nothing. Went to the middle path and I found it. And I realized this thing is like a 50-pound,
What?
like one of those big tractor chains.
Yeah.
And he had said to me, put it somewhere where I can find it. And I'm looking around and I'm like, I don't know where to put this where he'll find it. There's poison ivy, there's like ferns, there's nowhere to see it. So I put what I could in
You had to drag it?
I put what I could in my side pouch. And then wrapped it around my shoulders and around my neck. And I'm pouring sweat. And I've got my detector and I've got my big shovel because he's like, oh, there's also an old mill back there. And I'm like, oh, awesome. I'll find this chain.
Oh,
I'll go detect the mill. No, by the time I found that chain, got it picked up,
you're ready to go home.
I looked and I'm like, I still have half a mile, if not a mile, back to my truck. I couldn't have been that long. It felt like it took like 10 miles to walk back, hike back to my truck, loaded it in the truck, drove back to the section, put it on his tractor, and he drove around with his wife, and he was like, how'd you do? I'm like, I found it. He's like, you did? I'm like, yeah, it's on your tractor. I am drenched. Like my shirt is drenched through. I'm covered in mud because this thing got run over and was deep in the mud. And my neck is covered in mud. My shirt is covered in mud. My arms are covered in mud. And I was just like, he's like, oh, can I pay you? And I, normally I'm like, no, it's all right. And I'm like, yeah, actually, I usually charge about blah, blah, blah. Oh, man.
You worked hard for that.
I did.
You worked so hard for that.
But you have no idea how much I was cursing the fact that, A, I don't ask for all the information in the beginning like I should. Like, how long are these paths? Do you know if there's bears out there? Are the coyotes hanging in the swamp back there? Like, pertinent questions. I was like...
Well, let me ask another question, though. So how did he know you, or did he hear about you and your detector that you could recover this? Had you detected one of his properties before?
Oh, yeah. This is a permission that is not far from me at all, and it is one of the oldest establishments in my area.
Oh.
This is the one that his family settled there, so everything goes back. So that worked too, because I was like, geez, I haven't gotten my display over to him from the last time I was there.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going through the pictures and I'm like, oh my gosh, this display is from that. I never gave it to him at the beginning of 2020.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I brought that over and they were all excited. And um, so yeah, and that was where I had found my first shield nickel with rays. So I think it was a 1867.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, there was some good stuff in that display. When I pulled it out and dusted it off, I'm like, oh, that was this. I guess I didn't give it back. So that worked out well. I got to
Oh,
give them to him, and before I went out there. So I'm sure he saw the
yeah.
drastic personality change from the
You saw how
bubbly.
exhausted you were
Yep.
and covered in all this mud and sweat and what did you say? There was probably briars and poison
Oh
ivy
yeah,
and
the
everything else.
yep. I took a dawn bath after.
Dawn bath.
Yep.
Yeah, smart. How are you feeling today? Itchy?
No, no, thank gosh. I'm gonna knock on some wood. That's the last thing I need is to be covered in uh, covered in poison ivy. But yeah, so after a week of having fun and out detecting and really, really not wanting to quit, well, in New York, I got back and then signed up for this, and I was like, I did. I got
I got a
back.
weird I got a weird question real quick.
Sure.
Is it possible to get poison ivy, like if you get poison ivy on your hands, to get it like in your eyes? Would that affect your eyes? Anybody ever experienced that? Just curious.
I think so. Yeah, because I know that if you like, I think you can get it in your mouth, in your ears, and
Ugh.
everywhere. I think it's itchy and
Huh.
gross and sores and not good.
Oh. Okay.
Hmm. I wore gloves.
Several say yes, they have. Okay. All right. Just curious.
Yep. That would be great. No, not at all. Not at
Uh,
all.
uh, Owns a
No.
city harder than his ears, too. Oh, that's gotta be.
Yeah, all the people. Yes, 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 yes,
Yes,
yes. You
yes,
can.
yes.
Yes, you can get it everywhere. That's why, you hear the horror stories about detecting and going
I
out
guess
and going to the bathroom.
I guess I'm lucky. I better not even say it because I don't want to jinx it. But
Yeah, don't
anyway,
don't don't do it. Don't do
I'm
it.
not. Okay. So, moving on. What was one of your, okay, now you talked about some of your favorite finds of that hunt, and we know
Hmm.
about your wild and crazy adventure finding a chain.
Yep.
Um, what else? What else are we missing here? Now, I saw a photo of y'all standing by a really cool old grave.
Oh
Tell us,
yeah.
tell us
Yep.
about that. Tell
That
us
was
about
like
that.
that was like a split second photo opportunity. So no,
Gotcha.
yeah, no detecting in the cemetery. I didn't even actually. I realized after the fact. I'm like, I didn't even look at the stones to see the age or anything like that. It was
Yeah,
just,
see, that's what I have to look at. I have to see how old it is, see if it, connects to, the age of the property, because sometimes you're on property that's a lot older than what you thought
yeah.
if you find those old stones. So, just curious.
Yeah, no, it was like it seemed like it was the only area that was like clear enough for us to actually stand around to get a picture. So that's
Hmm,
why it made for a good photo opportunity.
cool.
Yeah,
I love,
I
me, I love the old tombstones and stuff, so
yeah.
just curious.
Oh, I can't imagine having poison ivy in my eyes.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
that would stink.
Mm-mm. Right.
That would. Dang. So another treasure though, we like to play, John and I will usually try to find a spot with pinball. So we got Ed and Carrie to go out and play pinball one night.
Oh.
So that was a lot of fun. And then we did take a day off in between permissions. In the middle of the week, we took a break and we went to Letchworth State Park, which was amazing. So there was there were tribes there, but there was also a man that had a mansion built and had all this property, and then he passed away and he gave it to the state. And it's amazing. Like there's this like waterfalls, and I think they call it the Grand Canyon of the East. So now I've seen the Grand Canyon of the West and I've seen the Grand Canyon of the East. But it was gorgeous. Yeah, we spent a day there wandering around, checking out the different views, and there's a museum, and I'm gonna butcher it, but there was a giant skull of it's not a mammoth. Looks like a mammoth. Huge skull in this museum that was so neat to see. But then they also had displays of kettle points and the old pipes from back then, and the different. Oh, it was a woolly mammoth. All right, cool. And it was just the beads and the jewelry and the all of it. It was just so neat. So the museum had a lot of cool things, and then they had a lot of the original stuff that was in that mansion that the gentleman owned before he gave it to the state, and that was all in a section, and you could go around, and it was just so cool. It was so cool.
That is too cool.
Mastodon was what it was. But yeah, just so much to see. It was so much fun. So much fun. On the way back, I'm like, I don't want to leave.
I bet.
But, looking forward to the next time of getting together with some great friends. I know a lot of us are going to be getting together at the end of October. I know there's a lot of time in between that. You and I might see each other next month, which would be really cool.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I was really sad I couldn't come. There's so many trips I've had opportunities lately to go to. It's just been timing's been off, but hopefully more travel is coming soon. So we'll see.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I mean, whoever's been scoring the artwork that you've been painting has some treasure on their hands, because those are gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Gorgeous paintings.
Yeah, I've got two that haven't sold yet. I haven't sold my owl yet, or my raven. I had a guy interested, but I didn't hear back from him. So if I don't sell those soon, I may. My friend Zola, that I'm metal detector, she said I could put them on her eBay store. She's got an eBay store. But I'm actually started painting a horse, so working on a horse. And then I'm thinking when I do have my hunt, which hopefully I lock that in tomorrow. It's just, seems like I'm waiting forever to get this hunt locked in, this property. But once I can get that locked in, I think I may paint something like I may do a painting for that and do like a raffle or something on the painting, and then the raffle of the painting go to like a charity or something. I don't know.
Awesome.
We'll see.
That's neat.
Well, something different. So,
that's neat.
Anyway, that's about
awesome. Well, do you have any fun adventures planned for this week? Besides locking in the permission?
Mainly, that's my main goal. Let's see what else. I need to work on some more some more videos for the series I'm doing, the Back to Basics videos.
Oh, yeah.
Is basically Swamp. I've been posting them on Facebook. I don't know if you're on my Facebook page, but if you're not, let me know. I can always send you some of my artwork, photos and stuff. But yeah, that's what I've been doing just to earn a little extra money, try to pay bills and just that kind of thing right now. Yeah. So until I can get this hunt going and some other projects so I can get my production company going. So anyway, yep, Shauna, I'm holding you to that. We're going to hopefully do some detecting very, very soon. Shauna's my new metal detecting buddy. Lives right up the road from me practically.
Awesome.
15 minutes away. So we're going to go do some detecting. She's got quite a few permissions around here. She's been showing me around. So we're going to go do some detecting. So we need to make some videos, Shauna. So anyway, that's about it for my week. Hopefully we'll get to go. Now that it's cooling down, Shauna, and now we finally got some rain. Oh, my gosh, y'all.
Did you?
We got some rain, yes. Everything's so green and gorgeous. So now I'm, like, very anxious to get out. Even though it's humid, it's still cooler. It's, like, still about 15 degrees cooler than it has been. So, and there's more rain expected tomorrow. So, Shauna, hit me up.
You'll have to let me know something. So if I noticed something this past week was the ground conditions, and I'm sure here as well, but the ground conditions in New York were so dry. But every afternoon there would be tons of rain. But the ground being so dry, it just like ran off, or it was like less than an inch saturated into the soil. So I found that my normal tones and numbers were totally thrown off. Digging ground that was like
that
only
will make a major difference with the moisture in the soil. And a lot of people, this is another thing, I've encountered this a lot with people that they're so used to their machine and they go to a different place where they're detecting and the soil is different. Even if it's not dry, maybe it's sandy, maybe it's, mineralized or something. And they're like, okay, let's see, a silver quarter hits like this on my detector. Well, what's funny is a lot of people don't realize that in different types of soils and soil conditions and yada yada, that they can hit something and they're like, oh, I'm not going to dig that. It's not hitting like, they think it's not that really good of a target. But some of that is, depending on the depth, it can really make a difference. And you may not sound as good, but they can really miss out on some good targets. So that's an important tip. I'm going to have to include that. You just gave me a good idea in my little videos I'm making. So
it was
I'm glad you brought that up.
It was one of those things that some of the targets like that were crap ended up being such a good tone, such a good signal, but the ones that were like crap signals turned out to be actually pretty good.
I mean, better ones.
Repetitive signals are repetitive signal. I'm going to dig it either way. But it's a surprise because it's like, no, this is definitely not what I had in mind. This is not what I'm used to. So.
Exactly. And that was what's funny when we were in New York, when we were detecting with Zola, and Georgie Ray may remember this as well, when we were detecting that wasn't New York, sorry, that was North Carolina. So Zola was like, she got that silver barber quarter, I think it was, and it was hitting so nice, perfectly. But then later we were digging in another area, and everything that was hitting, that it just sounded awful. But she just started digging it all,
Yeah,
and she
anything
was finding some
repetitive.
crazy good stuff. So, yeah, y'all, lesson learned. Lesson learned.
Yeah, anything that's
Yeah.
repetitive. I mean, again, get yourself a clicker. Make yourself have a internal competition every day. See who, can I dig more holes than I did yesterday?
I love it. Love that motto. Yeah, I'm going to have to get me a clicker, too. But I got to say it like you. Clicker. How do you
Clicker?
say it?
Clicker?
Clicker. I got to get me a clicker. Anyway, oh, boy. It's been a fun night hearing about all your adventures, and super excited about this week now that our soil has been somewhat replenished with some moisture, so it's
Mm,
not like digging in cement so as much. And the grass is green. It was
yeah.
like crunchy. So anyway, um, it's been a great night. Anything else we need to say before we close her out?
No, just a giant thank you again to everyone I dug with last week. I mean, if it weren't for all of you, it definitely made the hunts even that much better because, you're all fun to dig with. It was a wonderful adventure. And again, thank you to Ed and Carrie for being amazing hosts. And thank you, let's see, thank you, Paul, thank you, Rob, thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Jon, for making it an adventure that was out of this world. So, and that's all I got.
Awesome.
All right, lady.
All right. Well, it's been great. Thank you all for listening. We love you and we appreciate you. And you all have a great night and happy hunting.
Have a great week, everyone.
Good night, all.
Bye.
Bye.